YouTube. Soft speaking. First and foremost, this is a KALUA pork banh mi sandwich and homemade chips. I didn't make these. It's from our friend HSV_Hawaiian food. I believe I put it here on Instagram if you're from Huntsville. They make Hawaiian plates, and I think they have a bakery too, because I think his name is Keone, our Honu adventure on YouTube. Where are the videos, dude? Keep posting. But here's a cookie that came with it, and I think his wife might have made it, so I'm excited. We got the coldest water bottle there. I got some water here. For once, I can open it on camera, hopefully, because it's kind of mukbang. I probably should take that off. Maybe not. Close it though. What a week it's been. I'll tell you guys in a minute all the details that I can tell you. And I'll probably talk a little bit about my weight loss too, because clearly this is carbs, but I'll get to that. It's all good news. Alright, let's take a bite. I am a sandwich lover to the core. I dropped one already. So good. Ooh, spicy. I think these are not pickled, raw jalapenos to make it as spicy. Very good. Refreshing. I think this might be some kind of radish. I don't know what it is, but it's good. So, first, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, and from my husband's heart as well, for sending us all the positivity, well wishes, prayers that you guys have on the community tab. Not just on the community tab, even if you never commented, like if you just sent us some kind of hope or positivity in your mind or in your prayers. Thank you. I think it's working, thank God. We are not in the clear yet as far as going to Finland and having our vacation and wedding there, but we might be. So, quick brief if you're new or you just didn't know. Me and my husband got married at the City Hall here in USA a couple years ago. We were gonna do our actual wedding party last year, but we just didn't have the means for it, money wise, and then my green card took a little longer, and by the time we could have, everything would have been so last minute. So we were like, let's just do it either winter time or next summer. We ended up doing it, or postponing it to this summer without knowing COVID's gonna hit. So the good thing is we can go to Finland. We can. I can because I'm a citizen. He's my family member. We can go. Unfortunately, on Monday, the one minister from the Finnish government announced that everybody who comes from a risky country will be placed on mandatory quarantine instead of social distancing quarantine type of thing. Kind of makes sense, kind of doesn't. Because there's different kinds of people living in one country. Some people are being more responsible than the others. I'm really good at social distancing. We've been really safe. Part of it is because we're smart about it. Part of it is because we're lucky. But so on Monday things look really dark. On Tuesday too. Wednesdays when we got a little glimpse of hope, when the government kind of backed away from what that one minister said and said actually we can't mandatory put anybody on quarantine just because of just because they're flying from one country. There needs to be a reasonable suspicion that they've been exposed to COVID, which gives me hope. That's the kind of like the message that they've been sending on throughout from Wednesday to Friday today. So that gives me hope, because that would mean that we would get to talk to a doctor if we were to be inspected, and tell him we have no symptoms, which we don't, and tell him that we have been quarantined for about 2 weeks at home because we took a COVID test that turned out to be negative. So yeah, been crazy. A coworker of mine that I had been in contact with but not officially exposed, because exposure requires 15 minutes of close contact. But I had been in contact with them without a mask because I was in the break room talking to them. It wasn't 15 minutes, but it was like a good 5 minutes. And I was in contact with them later throughout that shift. So I wasn't immediately exposed, but at that point when I found out, I couldn't risk not taking the test and waiting to get symptoms and then at the very last minute canceling our flights to Finland. So I just had to take the test. So did Berto. The test results took about a week, and we've been quarantined ever since. That's been like a blessing in disguise, because that allowed us an opportunity to stay home from work, so and stay home from more exposure. So we weren't positive at the time of the test, and 2 weeks from that we've been just staying home. So I mean that we haven't caught it elsewhere either. We haven't gotten symptoms. They say if you're symptomless, even if you have it as an asymptomatic, if you're symptomless for 10 days, you shouldn't be infectious anymore. So should be good, you know. So we can present that paperwork to the doctors in Finland too if they do decide to inspect us. So basically, we should be good to go, but you never know. But we're gonna try. I think they would have to change the law if they wanted to change that procedure, because according to the law, the doctor needs to individually inspect you, and or at least be present, and they can't just assume that you have it. They have to have some kind of proof that you've been exposed. Like, for example, I sat next to somebody who had COVID on the plane, which would suck. Not that we would want to go to Finland and expose anybody, you know? Or be careless, but like we've been quarantined. We've been wearing our masks since end of March, and we would wear a mask in Finland too, which a lot of Finns are just learning to wear masks. They haven't been wearing masks till now. Most still aren't. And we would obviously keep our distance the same way we are keeping distance here. So it's been really stressful. First, not knowing if we were exposed to COVID, or we were, but like not knowing if we caught it. And by the time I took the test, it had been like a week since I'd seen that coworker, or like 8 days or so. So exposure to him, by that time, hopefully I would have shown something on the test if I had it. But I don't know if any other coworker of mine who was working with this person caught it too. I could also catch it from them, so like indirectly. So that's why they say it's important to quarantine for the full period of time, because you don't know who and when you've been exposed to. We're so far so good. I did have like the week that I got the test, the beginning of that week, I had a weird cough, which got me nervous. But I figured, I don't have any other symptoms, so maybe it's nothing. And then the day that we got the text saying this person was tested positive, or they didn't say this person, but I knew, because I knew who it was. That day, the message came around like 5 p.m. That day during noon, let me tell you, not to be gross, but my stomach was so upset, which could be another symptom of COVID, that my stomach was so upset that something happened that's never happened before, let's put it that way. And it was embarrassing. At home, luckily, so. And then we got the text, so I was like, well, I already have like 2 things that could possibly be that, and I talked to this person without a mask, like, I'm not risking it, I'm taking the test no matter what. Whether it's coming out of my PTO or work's PTO, paid time off, I didn't care. But I was taking the test and quarantining myself, I didn't care. Luckily, in the end, my workplace came meet me halfway, and they agreed to like put me on a COVID leave. Which was really nice of them. And I appreciate that. I guess they couldn't risk having me actually come back positive after slight exposure and slight symptoms, because that would have looked really bad if they would have let me back to work while I'm waiting for my test results. And then they would have known about these things, these symptoms and stuff, if it was positive, you know. That's what I assume. So yeah, I've been really stressed. It's been horrible. I haven't enjoyed this COVID leave. Not that, you know, it's something to fully enjoy, but like, you honestly, but let's be honest, like, you would think that you would enjoy a quarantine, but it's been almost pure hell. First couple of days were like me trying to adjust to the fact that I'm home and being bored and feeling guilty about not going to work. Because I love my job. I do. And then the whole government thing in Finland and worrying about like, what if my test comes positive anyway? Not that it would matter if I can't even go. Oh, and the reason why like mandatory quarantine would be so bad is because you are literally locked inside 4 walls. You cannot go anywhere. We could not get married. We would just go there. We would be there for 13 days. So it's a 14-day quarantine. We would go there, be locked away, and come back. Not be able to see my family. Nobody. What's the point? Whereas like a voluntary, it's not voluntary, it's like a recommended quarantine, but it's not mandatory. It's, you're recommended to stay away from people, but you can go do like basic essential things. However, knowing that I haven't been exposed, like I feel like the risk of me bringing it after quarantining and having a negative test is like even less now. But during our voluntary quarantine, we could get married at the end of our vacation. We could stay with my parents. We could go get some food as a takeaway and stuff like that. So we could walk around with our masks on, you know, keeping distance to people. And we're not gonna be punished by a fine or freaking jail, like they said on Monday. That was a whole mess, let me tell you that. I'm actually starting to kind of change my mind about like how I feel about COVID, because in the beginning I was really extra kind of fearful and scared of it. I've lived in COVID world now. I've seen friends of my friends or friends of people I know, or acquaintances or family members. I've heard them say, hey, my sister got it, my sister-in-law got it. You know, a lot of people, even a relative of my sister-in-law, a couple of them have it, and they've survived from it. And I'm realizing this is here to stay. There's so many cases in the world right now. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. So closing the borders, like for example New Zealand is doing, which they're doing awesome by living in a bubble, right? But how long can they keep closing the borders? Because every time you open a border, it's gonna sneak its way back in. So maybe, just maybe, the better option would be to try to learn a new normal and social distance and try to slow it down, but like also kind of learn to live in it. I'm not an expert. I'm just saying that at least in countries that have good healthcare, like closing the borders is a solution if it's only here for like a month or so. But at this point, I think COVID's here for a few years. Unfortunately, it's pretty bad. I took some Alberta chips, so to make it look like I have a lot of food. But I'm pretty full. So I'll just save these for him. So good. This is just a oversized shirt I got that I use as a nightie. Not technically not. Oops. Oh god, I forgot to talk about my wedding stuff. Ooh, that was spicy, the last bite. So, if we get to go to Finland, you should follow us on Love at First Bite YouTube and Love at First Bite Instagram. The information is in the description box. Holy shit, that last bite was spicy as heck. I must have bitten into like a seed or something. Holy moly, my tongue's on fire. Ooh, I don't know if I can taste this cookie now. That was unfortunate. You know what? I'm gonna have to save the cookie for later and talk about my weight loss later because it can't. My mouth is on fire. But yeah, follow our Instagram and YouTube. And if we get to go, we'll post a lot of things on there. Bye.